Did you, like, when that happened, do you remember, like, you had a concept of death, like being like that young? Like, did you know, or was it just like, oh, he's not going to be here no more?
Yeah, like, did you understand what the grief was? That what your question?
Yeah, hell of a question. I'm gonna compliment like all the questions. So I didn't feel, right? I was just purely numb because I had family that was broken. So what do you immediately do? You just step in and you step up. And so it wasn't even until like my sophomore year of college where I actually started to become depressed about it. It was weird. Like I had grown for so long and stayed so strong for so long that all of a sudden I fell into this like random depression. I had never been depressed. I was always quite literally the big brother to everybody. And then I fell into this random depression. It was like I was dealing with these things from the childhood, and I was like, what the hell is going on?
Like super delayed.
Yes, extremely delayed, where I think I just started smoking weed, and it was like I finally became like present enough to relax and like think and be and not just do, and that's when shit really started to hit me.
Now, do you think, like, because I only asked you that because, like, I know that shit that's happened to me in my past, like, I was just like, oh, dysfunction was normal, so it was just like, that's life. It's like, oh, it's nothing different is happening. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like where I would be like, oh, I'm sad because this happened or whatever. That's the only reason why I asked you, because I remember when the things that happened, like, in my childhood, it wasn't like a crazy breakthrough, like, oh my God, this tragedy happened. It was just like, oh, it happened, and we just move on. And it is what it is.
Yeah.
Cause they thought I'd never make it. See me fall down and they celebrate it. Learn how to win with no demonstration. How about the cool got a ventilated? Cause I can't see shit out on 95. Prolific little bitch, I see dollar signs. The shit I done seen got me traumatized. Tryna clear all the pain in my mama's eyes. And my daughter, she watching me closely. Tryna better myself like I should be. Had to chill out with all of that street shit. I came a long way, but don't push me. Rest in peace to my bro, it ain't right, dawg. 20 bands, nothing that's light sauce. Hit the booth and I turn all the lights off. Gotta get in my zone. Gotta turn on my phone, cause all them smiles is fake and I see it. Bad guy, if I got it, I'll be it. Baptized, but I'm living with demons. Trap vibes, so I'm cashing out Neiman's. No face, swear these bitches is heathens, but I don't need them, though.
There we go. That's like the longest clap we've ever had.
I know, right?
Last an extra 2 seconds.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Prolific Podcast. This is one of your hosts, Berto, checking in.
And the other one, Willie
checking in. This is episode number 38, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the show. Have a very, very special guest today joining us.
Yes, we do.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Growth coach, writer, speakeasy poet, master coach for Tony Robbins himself. Hey. All right, this young gentleman is changing people's lives, everyday people's lives. Sorry.
Drawing a blank?
I drew a blank as I looked at you and looked at the airplane. Changing people's lives day by day, physically, mentally, emotionally. You might have seen it on different places, different platforms, talk, TED, couple campuses, UCF, FIU, Miami-Dade, just to name a few. But ladies and gentlemen, this man is changing the way that he's putting different things on for our community. It's something that's very special. He's doing multiple things. And let's give a warm welcome. Let's give a warm welcome to the one and only, warm, prolific welcome to Mr. Chris Mazzara.
I feel like he butchered that last name.
Oh, he butchered the hell out of it. The intro is fire.
Yeah. Because I know the Italian is always like, you always have to put like the emphasis.
Aura. Mazzara.
Oh, yeah. Mazzara.
There it is.
Yeah, you know what? We might have to run that back, Gabe. just because.
Nah, I think we're good.
You good?
Yeah, cool.
It's
all good, man. But I appreciate you taking the time, man. We always start off the episode with a little toast. Jesus Christ.
Here we go.
Toast, brothers. Thank you for taking the time, Chris, and joining us.
Sir.
Welcome to the platform, man. Welcome to the platform. As always, we're gonna check in, just to see how you. I know how you feeling, Willie, because you just got over a 3-day fast. But how you feeling? Give me a mental health check, 1 to 10. How you feeling?
I mean, it was brutal. I mean, not brutal, but it was just it was different. So I'm just kind of gathering myself, trying to be proud of myself, because I'm like, oh, it's only 3 days, but it's like 3 days. That's the longest I've ever gone without eating my entire life. So trying to give myself props for it, and then kind of get back into like a balance, because I just was for 3 days like out of my mind. But it allowed me to realize how much I took food for granted, like access to food. You know, obviously I can get up and I'm privileged enough to get up and get food whenever I want. And I feel like just that being deprived, quote unquote, deprived of it, made me feel like there are people out there that are doing this. They're not fasting because they want to. They're fasting because that's their life.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yep. So I feel like a lot of that kept coming back to me. And I'm just like, I'm so grateful for all these things that I have. And I feel like I do take it for granted at times. So it was definitely like a grounding experience. But I feel good. You know, I've been a little hurt for a couple of days, but just trying to get, you know, some food back in my system and just, you know, get back on the ball.
So you gonna answer my question or where you're at or
What number?
Thank you. Hey, you know what? You might have a job after this episode.
Just like, I'm like, yeah, it all started when I was 7. It's like, just give me a number. For today?
For right now.
I'm feeling, I'll say I'm at like a 6.5. And that's just because of the situation with this whole weekend.
Yeah.
Because I ended up feeling sick afterwards too.
Yeah, but it's part of the process though.
Yeah.
So it's a good
So with that, we'll say 7.5.
7, solid 7.
Half.
How you feeling, my man? Just before we start, we like to do a little check-in just to see how you feeling.
I'll start off with the number. I'll start with that.
lead the right way. Lead us right.
So it's actually pretty cool. In the last this past week, I have been on just a new level. So I would actually call it about a 9.
Nice. Okay.
And highly productive, highly focused, starting very early, just super driven all day, all night. And that's not like this, you know, the growth coach is how he lives his life every day. Not at all. Yeah. So this is some kind of new level lately that's been unlocked. And then it doesn't hurt the fact that I leave to Europe on Thursday.
Hey.
Yeah,
Do you think that's what's caused it, or is there anything in particular?
I think the more challenge that I have is the more I rise. So I've been given a whole lot of opportunities in a small amount of time. And I'm a guy that I think when I'm not challenged enough, I can kind of decrease and shrink a bit. But when I'm challenged enough and when I'm challenged more than enough, I think I rise. And I think this is just the byproduct of that.
I always tell him, like, I'm at my absolute best when my back's against the wall. And it sucks that I have to get my back against the wall to be like that.
Right.
But I can definitely attest to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's, you know, I don't think it's a bad thing because I think I'm the same way. A lot of it has to do with our upbringing, you know, and then the challenge that we faced, you know, later on, you know, in adolescent years and college years. So I'm fine with that because I know I perform the best when I'm under pressure.
Yeah,
you know?
but then there's always that little bit like, if I could be like this all the time, where would I be?
Yeah, but you'd be a machine and that's unrealistic.
Not a machine, but
Yeah,
you'd be much more productive.
Yeah, but you're also human. Yeah. You know, it's going to happen.
I guess.
Anyways.
What's your number?
Hey, thank you for asking me. I'm at a solid 9.
Okay.
That's
the highest that we've seen on this podcast.
And the only reason I'm not going to say a 10 is because I have a headache. So physically, I woke up a little shitty today. But I'm starting to just be a lot more grateful, even through, you know, the obstacles and the challenges, you know. And honestly, again, it's just, we take a lot for granted, like you mentioned earlier, like food and all that. But I still got a roof over my head. My daughters are still healthy. My friends are healthy. I have a good set of friends. I have a good life overall, right?
Yeah.
Just because I haven't jumped where I want to jump from the last, position that I kind of reached doesn't mean that I'm slowing down in productivity in any way.
Right.
It's just not the time yet. That's it. So I'm changing my mindset a little bit. I'm a 9. I'm going to say I'm a 9. If I didn't have this headache, I say, you know what? I'm feeling like a 10 right now.
That's good.
So that's where I'm at.
Anything happened since we last spoke? Since the last episode, I guess you could say.
Anything happened as far as what?
That brought you up to the 9.
No.
Anything in particular?
Perspective, man. We went to Coachella. You know, we experienced different things there. So it's really just perspective, man. Like it's really what it is at the end of the day. There's nothing specific that's life-changing.
Right.
But again, man, tomorrow's not promised, as cliche as it sounds. So it's like, if we're still living, why are we still complaining about certain things, right? Like things are going to happen when they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Not when you want them to.
Yeah.
So stay consistent, stay down, stay focused, you know? And like you said, not every day is a great day where it's like, oh my God, I'm motivated. Like, you know, I called out of work today. I was like, I'm not feeling it. I'm not good. It's cool. But just continue to move forward. That's it.
It's good.
Yeah. So
Respect.
thank you, sir. Thank you for asking me and considering me since I'm always the one left out.
Always.
But let's get back to Chris, man. Chris, beautiful journey, man. We're gonna make sure that we drop all his information where you can find him. This young gentleman is, as I mentioned, he's doing a lot, man. He's doing a lot. He's all over the place in the sense of different platforms, and he's using his voice in different ways. So let's get into it. For one, poetry, right? Started following, what you have and what you've been putting out there. And what we realized is that one of them, you said that you started poetry in fifth grade, not at 5 years old. That would have been crazy. In fifth grade.
Goo goo gaga.
Yeah. Goo goo gaga. And then he just started rapping after that. But, it's fifth grade is still a young age.
Yep.
In fifth grade, I was trying to go outside and play manhunt for hours until the lights came
like
on.
Pokemon cards.
Right? So it's like, talk to us a little bit about your journey, your foundation. You mentioned, your foundation and started writing in fifth grade. What led you to start liking that at such a young age?
That is a hell of a question. So
that's all we do here.
Yeah, that's all.
Prolific kind of question.
Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow us for the vibes. Sorry, we joke around a lot. Sorry.
No, it's perfect. So, yeah, in fifth grade, so I, much like I've heard you guys already kind of reference, which is the toughness of the childhood. And I was raised by a very chaotic and alcoholic father. And he eventually took his own life.
Sorry to hear about that.
So it was a rough childhood. However, when he took his own life, it was just a moment of shock, right? You don't really know what to do, how to take it. The guy that, brought you to this earth is not staying around. However, I was a very big fan of Tupac and Eminem. So what did both of them do? Write about their parents, write about their struggles.
Dear mama.
Yeah, right. And you hear, especially Eminem, right? I mean, on the opposite side of Dear Mama, right? So, but I would hear and I would read these books from both of them, just like how they dug into the pen and what that meant for them. So what would I do? I would go sneak around with this journal, and I would sneak into my room. I wasn't allowed to write rap lyrics or anything like that. So I would sneak around and just write these poetry things, write these poems, and it just became my thing. It just became my way to vent. I would come home and I wasn't much of I was kind of the big brother to the family. Like when my father passed, I didn't.
You have to step in.
I didn't break down. Like I'm this young child. However, I'm the one that's stepping in, right? Like we were raised by almost a child. And because of that, you grow quick. So the pen became my way to vent, my way to grow, my way to release and relax and strengthen. So I started writing. That ended up developing all the way throughout the rest of my life. But that was that source, that beginning point. So grieving and pain, you could say, is what started me to write.
Now, did you, like, when that happened, do you remember, like, you had a concept of death, like being like that young? Like, did you know, or was it just like, oh, he's not going to be here no more?
Yeah, like, did you understand what the grief was? That what your question?
Yeah, hell of a question. I'm going to compliment like all the questions. So I didn't feel, right? I was just purely numb because I had family that was broken. So what do you immediately do? You just step in and you step up. And so it wasn't even until like my sophomore year of college where I actually started to become depressed about it. It was weird. Like I had grown for so long and stayed so strong for so long that all of a sudden I fell into this like random depression. I had never been depressed. I was always quite literally the big brother to everybody. And then I fell into this random depression. It was like I was dealing with these things from the childhood, and I was like, what the hell is going on?
Like super delayed.
Yes, extremely delayed, where I think I just started smoking weed, and it was like I finally became like present enough to relax and like think and be and not just do, and that's when shit really started to hit me.
Now, do you think, like, because I only asked you that because, like, I know that shit that's happened to me in my past, like, I was just like, oh, dysfunction was normal, so it was just like, that's life. It's like, oh, it's nothing different is happening. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like where I would be like, oh, I'm sad because this happened or whatever. That's the only reason why I asked you, because I remember when the things that happened, like in my childhood, it wasn't like a crazy breakthrough, like, oh my God, this tragedy happened. It was just like, oh, it happened, and we just move on, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why I asked.
Okay. I thought you were gonna keep. No, it's very valid. You know, I think a lot of us go through very similar things. It doesn't matter where you come from. Like a lot of us come from divorced parents.
Right.
A lot of us come from, you know, rough upbringing, but we all deal with it a different way because I think when we're that young, we don't know how to feel yet. Like you said, it's something that we just see, and it's like you just physically get there and just like, okay, I'm here. Like, what do I have to do because I'm trying to be that support for everybody. You know what I mean? But
now, wait, do you have siblings?
Yeah, I had an older brother, and I have a little brother.
Older and little?
Yeah, so little brother is a different father.
So you were the middle child and you had to be the big brother?
Oh, yeah. That's, yeah.
it's tough.
That one's a tough one.
Why?
So
if you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, so
if it's too much, you don't have to ask. No worries.
We'll keep it high level with this one.
Yeah.
So he was closer to the situation than I was, right? Okay. So because there was a divorce, you know, I was removed from the home earlier than he was. So he had it quite a bit tougher than I did. So stepping up was probably a bit more manageable for me.
Okay. No, I can feel that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what made you transition? Now you're going from writing a journal, writing in the pen, writing poetry, right? Writing all your emotions, your thoughts, and everything. What made you transition? Because doing spoken word is something that's, for one, you need a lot of courage.
Yeah.
You know, writing your own thoughts in your room or anywhere you go, that's your healing, right? That's like, okay, this is where I zone out. It's kind of like me going to the gym or playing basketball. But getting in front of people and being vulnerable and allowing people to come into your life, mind you, in college, like college is like, you know, party time. I'm sure you know, you want to fight, like, you know, so where majority of the college people are, you're not there, but you might look like you're there, but you're really not. So what made you transition into going into these speakeasies and getting in front of people, you know, because it takes a lot of courage.
Yeah, it was. So I watched this Brave New Voices HBO documentary. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that, but it's about these seniors in high school that they compete all around the country and they come together and they have this spoken word competition. So I'm just watching and they're just bearing their souls on stage, right? And I'm just like wowed by it, so inspired by it. And I kind of always just stayed really curious about that. And then in college, FIU, they have a Speak Fridays. They have Speak, Student Poets, Eloquently Articulated Knowledge. They have all these clubs and stuff. So I would just attend. I'd stay in the back of the room. I really wasn't about to bring that attention to myself. And then one day the president was like, hey, you know, you keep coming, but you don't share.
It's like AA meetings.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like, hey, you.
Tell us your story.
Yeah. So, you know, I brought my journal one time and I spit. And everybody's reactions to it was like,
validation.
Oh, shit. Well, do I have something here? Am I good at this?
Yeah.
And then right from the jump, it was like a fast track to opportunities. Like I had competition as I was entered. I won that competition. I was entered into just headlining shows. Like it happened in a matter of months where I'm just like now doing it consistently. So it was almost like I was just kind of called to it. And I think I just had a gift and I was blessed to just kind of, you know, be led to something new. I think also I was huge into basketball throughout all high school years. So I think when an athlete loses their sport, I think they almost struggle with their identity as well. Like, all right, what's my thing going to be? You know, what's going to make me happy and fulfilled every day? And then I was, you know, that it was great because I had always been doing this already. And now it was just the fact that I was actually stepping up and sharing it. And I think that's probably why I had an edge on everybody. They were just joining this club and they were just starting to write because it was interesting to them. I had been writing for 12 years.
So you had books and books.
Yeah, exactly, right? So I'm just stepping in like, cool, I'm just going to unleash this, right? So that was where it transitioned and opportunities led to another. And then again, the whole videos started becoming viral online and that was just creating more and more doors to open.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I'm going to just piggyback off of that. I don't know if
Yeah, I mean, I was going to piggyback the same. So do you, now in your poetry, do you feel like you connect with your past through it?
Oh my God, yeah. That was essentially all I wrote about in the beginning.
Like I know you said initially was the father, but like I'm saying like in today's day, like do you feel like you still?
Yeah, like do I write about my past still? No, not really. Because of how much I've grown. You know, back then I didn't talk to people about my feelings. I didn't talk to, you know, again, if I'm the big brother, like people are coming to me, you know, so I can't let my guard down.
You're the backbone.
Yeah, exactly. Nor did I really want to, nor did I care to. So I just have grown to a place now where I really don't, I just want to more so educate and develop, and you know, anything I touch or anybody I talk with, I just want them to grow and become more and elevate because of it. So I'm in a part of my life where healing has kind of come to its, realm. It's come to a close, and I'm really grateful for that. And now it's just that aspect of who can I, pour into while they're on that healing journey themselves.
Now, I mean, going off of like the whole thing, because I feel like you and I have a very similar story, and I just want to ask you this question. I hope it's not too forward. Like, when everything that happened, with your father, like, did you ever lash out or take anything out like on your mother? Like, hold her responsible, or like, subconsciously maybe, for like what happened or like how you were feeling?
No, no, not really. Not on mom. I can't say that for everybody.
I'm talking from.
Yeah. So I can't say that for everybody, that everybody didn't do the same to mom. So, my part in that was more so the protector of everybody.
Yeah. Right.
And more so, I felt no need to disperse blame or anything like that. The man was not right in his head, right? And not right in his soul. He didn't know God. He didn't have a higher purpose. And how can you survive in that world,
Now, with all of that, like holding all of that, like your family on your shoulders, like so long, have you ever struggled with like vulnerability? Like before, obviously, you with religion, everything like that, pre that, like, did you ever feel like you can't open up because you have to be the backbone, you have to be the strong one? It's like, I can't let anybody see my soft side.
It was weird, man. So I went from like never opening up about my shit to like unleashing on anybody that would listen.
Hey, how are you, bro? Let me tell you.
Yeah. Let me take out my journal. What page am I on? And but no, it was weird. I went from this point of just like, I guess I had been maybe faking it for so long that all of a sudden I just kind of let my guard down, and I didn't really even know how to build it back up for years. When I like struggled with depression in my sophomore year of college, and I was there for like 4 years. It was weird. Yeah. It was, I just so new to it. It took me a long time to come out of it and just it was weird. I still even have a hard time understanding that whole chapter for me, but I really just think I was just faking it for so long, and then all of a sudden it was
caught up to.
Now I have to rebuild this shit, and I don't even know what I'm rebuilding.
Yeah.
Right. So, but yeah, I mean, the vulnerability, it came to a point where I'm like, now I feel no need. I think I probably got all of it out. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and honestly, look, man, I'm glad you're bringing that up, because this is exactly why we have this platform.
Yeah.
We feel like when Will and I, started brainstorming about the podcast, one thing that stood out to us that we had in common was our upbringing has pretty much, made us the people that we are.
Yeah.
But I think it's safe to say it's never really completely gone. Like, so how you said you were depressed for 4 years, or you kind of just there, kind of just trying to figure it out. Like, I feel like we're still trying to figure it out, right? But there's so much from the past that still kind of haunts us. That's still kind of like, there's trauma there that we haven't opened up.
Yeah.
So when you said that, hey, at one point you're just like, anybody can just talk to you, and you're like, hey, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
I went through that personally.
Yeah.
My story, it's very, I'm not going to get into it, but I had daughters at 18, twins. I was trying to go into college, trying to go to party, try to balance everything with 2 kids. Nobody that I know has done what I had to do, and I'm still trying to figure it out. Right. And I'm 36. Right. You know what I mean? So like, I understand what you mean by that, because I was the same way, holding in so much. Oh, hey, everything's fine. I got to be the man. I got to be the dad. I got to be the brother. I got to be the man of the house. And it's like, when do I fucking break?
Yeah.
And my breaking wasn't like, oh, let me go fuck up some walls and hit some holes. Like, my breaking was, I just need somebody to ask me how I'm really feeling.
Yeah.
And that once that one person did, it was just like a lot of people were getting it, because I couldn't hold it anymore. It was years and years of built up.
Right.
So I'm glad you mentioned that, because again, this is why we have this. This is why we have this, and I appreciate you sharing that.
Absolutely.
Now I wanted to ask you something about, obviously you're fast forwarding to like, now you're public speaking, and like you said, you're trying to touch other people. How do you balance the delicacy of what you want to express, and then the possible backlash that you can receive from the people that you're presenting to that don't know you?
Yeah,
or don't know your story.
So it's an interesting thing, right? Because for one, we're in this generation where you almost have to be surprised when you don't have backlash. Really, anything you say now can
and we'll be used to it so accordingly.
Yeah, I mean anything, you know. So it's almost like, are you even surprised that people are offended? Now, was I thinking that maturely in the beginning of this stuff? Absolutely not. But I leaned on people that I just looked up to, right? You look at Tupac, you look at Malcolm X, and Malcolm X is quote, right? Stand for anything, or stand for something, or fall for anything. Right. And I think you have to be okay with saying, all right, here's the truth that I believe in wholeheartedly. I'm going to plant my flag here. I'm going to stand for it. And people are either going to fuck with it, they're going to resonate with it, it's going to shock them, and they're going to wake up finally, or they're going to hate it. Mm-hmm. And boy, did people hate it, right? And I took a whole lot of backlash. It was really, really weird to be on this rising of social media videos, you know, right when that was still new and fresh, and it wasn't normal to just be like completely torn apart in the comments. Or even at family gatherings, right? Like spoken word, my spoken word poetry was always meant to be confrontational, very confrontational, meant
intentionally?
To be very intentionally. Like I'm not a guy that, I don't like to shy away from the truth, right? When the truth is the truth, I'm going to speak abruptly about it. And I think oftentimes like how you say something is good. I like to wrap it in some good packaging. However, it doesn't change the fact that the truth is the truth. So like even a very easy example, my family is filled with police officers. So what am I a firm believer in? Police brutality, white privilege. Like I'm a believer in the system that is holding black people down, right? Or just minorities, period. So what do I do when I start creating this video and that one blows up more than any other? Go to the family gathering, I'm not even spoken to. Right? And then
You're there like in the corner with a plate.
It's like, can you pass the mashed potatoes? Or like, get it yourself.
They're like, why even in the table?
So,
that's tough.
So, it started with that. I mean, even, the girlfriend that I was dating at the time, she was of a wealthy family. I created this poem called American Greed, and the misspending and misprioritization of Americans' priorities altogether. And, that shit was weird after I dropped it, right? So, but it doesn't change the fact that the truth is the truth, y'all. Like I'm not, we don't need to shy from it. You can try to be numb to it, whatever. It doesn't change the fact that what I'm saying is right. And it's not my opinion on it. It's just the facts. So yeah, but again though, you have to be comfortable in placing that flag where you feel your truth is called and
stick to it.
Yeah, stick to it.
So a couple of things I wanted to point out that really caught my attention. Obviously, your spoken words. Honestly, I might have probably seen all your videos from the last 10 years. No, the fact that for one, they're short, right? They're very engaging. But for two, like there is no like it's not a movie, right? Like where you're kind of waiting to see what happens. Like you go right into it. Even your 30-minute ones that I saw, it was the message was there. But very direct, where like you can't really miss a beat. Like I don't want to miss a bar because it's like what you're spitting is facts, and that's what I honestly loved because. Like you just said right now, right? You're speaking your truth, right? For the average person watching, the first thing they're going to say is, oh, but, he's a white guy.
Yeah,
what does this guy know? Which that's why I asked, the possible backlash or what you receive. Because for me, I'm the type of person that growing up, I had all different type of friends. Nerds, hood rats, thugs, like everybody. Because I never saw a color, right? I saw like energy, right? So in a couple of your spoken words, there was 3 that stood out to me the most. The viral virus. Love that one. When the bell rings. Very, very. But the last one was closure.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Oof. And, that one, it's a little bit more, it's a little bit more personal. But, let's talk to me about August 6th, August 6th, 2014. And of course, again, you don't have to go into detail. It's just whatever you like, whatever you're comfortable with. But, being that we're in the mental health and we speak about depression and stress and how men hold a lot of things in.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that day because I know that was something that was life-changing for you.
Yeah.
And how that affected your awareness of mental health, depression, and stress. Yeah.
So my best friend committed suicide. And this was, if you knew me, you knew him. If you knew him, you knew me. You knew us as the duo there. So, we lived together. It was very unfortunate. This was, closest person in my life. And when he took his life, you can imagine the level of self-guilt and self-blame that happens at that point, especially when, if I'm the big brother to everybody, that means he was, in fact, my little brother. And so for one, did it send me in that depression I was speaking of? Did that have a huge source of it? Absolutely. And it was also one of the most revealing and learning times of my entire life because I would say that I used to struggle a bit with narcissism, right? I used to see really the world within myself, right? Everything was about just really how it affected me. I was a bit narcissistic, right? What affected me, what I wanted, what my goals were, didn't really have too much to do with others. Like even the spoken word poetry, it was really about me venting about my childhood. Yeah. People really resonated with it. They were moved by the vulnerability, but it didn't change the fact that, y'all, I'm up here to help myself right now. And when my friend took his life, it changed me forever, man, because I all of a sudden was open and focused on what others are going through. And it put this necessary pressure on every single interaction that I had with people. I felt a pressure. I felt like, wow, every word I say to you has weight, because I don't know if you're on the verge or if you are in a 9 out of 10 kind of place. Yeah. And so it took this very necessary pressure, turned me much more into a listener, much more into a learner, and much more into a communicator, where my spoken word started to really take a big transition. It was no longer just about Chris handling his stuff and grieving or going through his things. It was much more about, hey, here's what Chris is going through, and here's what you can learn from it. Here's all the books and all the perspectives that can absolutely help you develop as your greatest self, or for you to overcome that, or for you not to have to experience that. So it changed everything. It's how you find yourself as a life coach and coach of Tony Robbins and all these things now, because, you know, his life, losing him, there's probably, outside of like my parents, you know, there's nothing that probably could have been taken from me that would have been more than that. So huge lesson for me to learn. I take a lot of ownership of that whole journey, and I'm grateful to be on the other side.
Did you know he was on the verge? Like, did you ever get an inkling or anything like that, or was it just kind of?
I was so stuck in my own suffering.
Just didn't.
I couldn't even have known, man. I was only focused on what I was going through, and that was, I think, what the biggest regrets were. Right, like all I could see was my depression. All I could see was my struggles, and it just wasn't me. It's just not who I was. It's just not what he signed up for. So yeah, I had no clue, no idea, and lost my ability to even really connect with him, for him to feel open enough to speak with me. So that was really just the closure or the disconnect that I felt from the world at that time of just being so lost.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, you know, you deserve a lot of respect too, because like how is it, you know, I'm curious, you lost 2 people to suicide, you know, that I know, that you've spoken of. I mean, most people don't know anybody, you know what I mean, or even know a friend of a friend. So like, how is that, how do you feel like that's have affected you? Obviously today, you know, you're more open and everything like that, but like that's 2 people that, you know, were your people. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it just makes you respect people more, right? There's a love that I feel with people now. There's a very slow to judge, but a very quickness to appreciate and understand and empathize. Whereas I really just didn't exist in that mindset before. So it's just different, man. You lose people in that aspect, and it just becomes, I don't want to say people become your responsibility, because they're not, but you feel that way. You feel like you
have a duty to.
Yeah, you feel a duty to serve, and you feel a duty to just make sure that I don't got to be too intense with you. I don't got to say something to push you over. Like, hey, I can give you love, right? I think that's the greatest thing we can give each other. I can give you love, and I know at the very least, maybe this doesn't change your life, but hey, maybe it can change your day. Maybe you can at least survive tonight. And I have no idea what you're going through or not going through, but at the very least, you know, I'm contributing and doing my part to sending you on your way and on that journey back on your path.
Respect.
I'm a big believer in that too. It's like even something as simple as like when I go to the office, right? Run into somebody in the elevator. Yeah. It's like, hey, good morning. Like, it's like you just never know, right? And obviously, like, I've gone through my own struggles and my own, you know, obstacles. And have I taken myself there? It's possible. You know, I might be in denial. Maybe I haven't. I don't want to speak about it. I don't really know. But I think that something as small as that, you know, just somebody saying, hey, like, how are you? Or good morning, or, you know, is everything okay with you? Or just like, you know, kind of checking in might give you a little bit of that energy. It'll be like, you know what, like, it's just worth it, you know, one more day. Because that's very hard, man. I personally haven't, so I can only imagine, you know, what you've gone through and what you felt. I'm glad that you're here and able to talk about it, because that's a very big, so we salute you on even being able to speak about it, you know, and move forward from it, and also turn it into a positive. Yeah. You know, because not only are you not going through, like, not only did you go through it and you're moving past it, but now you're also trying to change people's perspective on just being good human beings to each other.
Absolutely.
You know, and honestly, again, I don't think I've met anybody personally, you know, maybe you have, but I haven't met anybody personally that can really take something that's negatively impacted them, but actually turn into a positive and do it with a smile on their face. You know what I mean? So.
No, I mean, you're right. Like, most people would kind of cave in and become the victim.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's
That's the
like,
easiest thing to do.
you know, all these people are dying in my life and now, you know, I'm miserable. But
Yeah.
for you to turn it around is, you know, it's also a lot.
Yeah.
I think the victim mentality is probably what holds most of us down and most of us back from really becoming who we are meant to become on this planet, right? Becoming who I think God has us to become on this journey. So, I also have a firm belief that whatever happens is meant to happen.
So it's everything's been written.
Everything is in the highest plan, in the highest good, and even in a crazy standpoint, you know, hey, what if I was still that narcissistic person?
Yeah.
What if this happened for my highest good, right? And you know, I really would never have found myself. I'm in the best chapter of my entire life. I'm the happiest I've ever been. Everything about my life is damn near perfect. So I'm you know, who's to say I would be here right now if I didn't go through that shit?
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I like about that you speak about, which a lot of people don't, it's finding your purpose, right?
Yeah.
And in one of your videos, you said something that I even told my fiance. I was like, oh my God. Like it was so, and mind you, I'm not like, oh my God, like this person said one line, I'm gonna go and run with it, right? But certain things affect me differently, right? Certain things just hit. And in one of your videos that it was finding your purpose video, you said you have to love what you do, not just what you can get from it.
So true.
I promise you, I'm not even joking. I'm not saying this for the video or anything. I played that back 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, when you hear something and it hits, but it doesn't really hit.
Yeah.
Right. So, again, I think that just completely being vulnerable. Like, I'm 36. In the looks, in the eyes of the world, they may, oh my God, you know, Berto's successful, right?
Yeah.
Drive a nice car, have a house, my kids are healthy, like,
Yeah.
you know, married, like what we're supposed to look like on paper,
Yeah.
right? But I deal with my own struggles every day,
Yeah.
right? I think to me, I'm still trying to figure out what my purpose is,
Yeah.
which sounds crazy to me, right? Because at 36, I would think, okay, if I have a career and I have, like, my life is already going, like, I think I had it figured out, but I don't, right? So when I read that, or when I heard that, I'm sorry, that really made me think, because you said the second sentence, like, not just love what you do, but what you don't receive from it. So that means, like, whatever your passion is or whatever your purpose is, it doesn't come with a paycheck.
Right.
It doesn't come with, you know, the likes and the reposts and the views. Right. So that made me think, like, am I going to work and I'm not feeling fulfilled.
Yeah.
You know, this is not my purpose. This is just probably just a job, which, okay, is cool and benefits and all that. But now I'm in the hunt for that.
Yeah.
Because that made me dig deep into when I was a kid, because I remember you had point guard to a poet. Love that. Love that. Because I played ball. You know?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I was like, that was so dope, you know, because that was my mentality. Growing up, you see me with a basketball everywhere except the bathroom.
Yeah.
Actually, in the bathroom, I was probably pooping and dribbling under my legs. No, I'm dead ass. So, you know, that made me think to that. Kobe. So, no, that made me think that, because, you know, when we're young, we always have big dreams when we're kids, right? And then it's like life starts happening, right? I had to get a job at 16, right? Like, tell my mom from divorced parents and such and such. So, like, I started thinking about that, and I'm like, damn, is it too late to go from 36 and start looking back and seeing what I really love?
Yeah.
That I don't care what I get in return, because I feel like I'm serving, or I feel like I'm really fulfilling my purpose.
Yeah.
So, based off of that, I wanted to ask you, like, in your own words, what would you suggest to the listeners that are listening in, or people that are watching in? What would you suggest, or how would you suggest they change their mindset to really go after that? And, you know, again, of course, based on your perspective of how it happened with you, and really start to see how they can figure out their purpose.
So I think you guys are operating within it, right? So for one, you're drawn to mental health, and you're now connected to a higher plan, right? It's to not only express and help you guys with your own, but to bring that to others for them to grow and develop theirs. And I think that is the purpose of life, to grow and to give. The more that you grow in your ability to give, and then giving at the highest level possible. So for one, you got to find what you're able to grow in. You guys are clearly, 38 episodes is not a small practice, right? That's consistency. That's proof in the pudding. But I would say for anybody who's looking for their purpose, it usually comes on the other side of your biggest pain. The thing that breaks your heart, either in this world or that's happened to you. So most people would think that trajectory of my life would have been helping people with their mental health or avoid suicide. That's what it looks like my life would become the purpose, as long as when pain happens, when your breakdown happens, which it will, you don't crumble, but yet you grow from it. You say, how can I not, just be destroyed from this? How can I grow from this instead? And when you're able to turn your pain into a triumph, into your growth moment, I then think you put yourself on the path to then giving that same lesson to others. So for one, what about this world or about your life, about your community, about your family breaks your heart? You wish it would be different. And that's usually where your purpose is planted. And if it's on the opposite side, more so, what about this world you love doing already, that you love is happening, a cause, somebody that stands up for, the humane society or sex trafficking? Like, what is it that you see people already doing and standing up for, and you feel like you want to be a part of that cause? So start there, absolutely, and see how much you can grow and your ability to give.
That's beautiful, man. And I'm a very big believer in pain equals passion.
Absolutely.
And now you just solidified the reason. See, I've always believed that, but I've never saw it from that view.
Yeah.
Of where can you grow? If it pains you, then that's a signal for you that you care enough that it's a passion of yours.
Yeah.
Where can you grow from that?
That's great.
Wow, I appreciate that. That's, you see, I'm just whole circle. I'm gonna go back home with a whole new man. Like, babe, I figured it out.
Just kick the door in.
Oh man, that was beautiful. Let's fast forward. I want to go into your spoken word for hours. Because it's just so much. I feel like a lot of your meat and potatoes, like they said, it's came from those years.
Yes,
right?
sir.
But let's fast forward. Like where Chris is now. For one, 5 a.m. Right, the 5 a.m. the morning prayer walks.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about that. What exactly does that do for you, and when did you start that?
So it's crazy, but it's actually gotten to 3 a.m. So, and this morning,
I want to be there.
These last couple mornings, when I say I was like killing it productively, and not gonna lie to y'all, it's been starting like 1:52 in the morning.
What time are you going to bed?
9:30. That's
What?
kind of 10 o'clock. All I really need, my body for some reason, is 6 hours.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah, so if I get more than 6 hours, I
feel like
feel
crap.
I feel shitty all day.
Yeah.
I feel borderline
I feel like
depressed.
lethargic.
Yeah, I hate it.
Like 8 hours, I'm like,
Yeah.
4 hours of sleep, I'm like, let's go.
Let's go hit the gym.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, so my, the part that I'm leaving out is that through all this pain, I've just found God. And my family wasn't the most religious or the most church bound or most, really just God people at all. I was really probably the first in the family to really just say, oh yeah, I want this. I found God through all this pain and breakdowns, and I think all the glory goes to him for me being able to turn it from something. But more recently, it's become this foundation of my life is these 4 a.m. prayer walks. 4 in the morning, I am walking around the neighborhood, and I'm very thankful to live in a very nice neighborhood now. Where
getting robbed.
Yeah, exactly. Like, truth be told,
He's like, God.
You're like, thank you. I want to be God. Give me ocean.
Well, it's 4 a.m.
God help me.
Yeah, God, what are you doing? What message is this?
What do I take from it? No, so I am very thankful for that, right? It's another thing to be grateful for, because my last neighborhood was the nicest, and that wouldn't have been safe for me to do it. But however, this is the neighborhood where I can walk around 4 a.m. Like, it's beautiful, great trees around, But I talk to God for about 40 minutes at a minimum every morning. I walk and I talk about everything. I talk first about all the things I'm grateful for. My professional life, my woman, my wife, my family, my health, everything, man. I just want to always let God know how grateful I am for it. I don't want it to ever be something I'm just used to, right? And just come to take for granted. So, but I start with that, and my job, my life is a very high pressure one. I'm usually in a leadership position of just about everything I do. Which is great. I'm very blessed to be called to that aspect. It just comes with, if you're called to leadership, you're called to pressure, and you're called to critical thinking. You're called to high stake decisions, and there's a lot on the line when it comes to that. So these prayer walks are also for me to just be praying through the opportunities, the decisions I have to make, the business decisions, the numbers that I got to decide on, and it honestly has kept my sanity. It's made me more productive, made me more successful. I've had the highest revenue generated year I've ever had in my life, and I honestly attribute it to these prayer walks.
Respect.
Like, kid you not, like, these prayer walks have changed my life. And much like if I sleep too much, like when I don't do them in the mornings, my day is affected. And people don't get the same amount of love. I don't feel the same amount of energy. And But yeah, I would say, anybody looking for a foundational principle, a prayer walk before your day starts where you're not even worried about time period. You're just connected. You're not worried about rushing or your phones or anything. You develop this level of peace that is very hard to find when the world has started its day. So definitely fully recommend. It's honestly a cheat code in my life.
Now, just to kind of go off of that, like when you said you started off, like what do you remember if there was anything specific that led you to religion?
Yeah.
Like, was it just, your friend, or was it anything particular where I feel like sometimes it's just like that day, like, you know what, this is it. Like I need to go here.
So I started off as a Buddhist. I started off meditating every single day. Meditation was like the thing that kind of centered me through all the chaos. And I came to study the teachings and read everything, and I just found one thing that I didn't really fully connect to, that I kind of circled all the religions. I wanted to make sure that whatever I was going to be committing to, I felt fully as a believer of. And then I found my way back to Jesus, and Jesus' life is just this idea of I serve people, I'm here to help people. Right, I go into the night, no matter if you're a sinner, doesn't matter if you're a great person, I'm here to help you. And that idea of just service and doing it from a place of love, it's hard to find that answer anywhere else. And so when what am I doing? Like I want to help people, no matter how far they are, no matter how they're doing. So I studied the life of Jesus, studied the teachings of him, and the more I just kind of learned from his way of being 2,000 years ago. I was like, how did you have these answers when people back then were, killing each other, raping each other? Like it was some horrible times. I guess it doesn't sound too different from now. However, it was at a whole different level.
This is modern times. Yeah, we got cameras. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I resonated so much with the life of Jesus, and the power of prayer, I could probably say, has been the biggest thing that has centered me through all this.
Nice.
Now, just because I'm actually curious. So a prayer walk, right?
Yep.
I know a lot of times when people say, I found Jesus, they never really say like kind of how they got into it, right?
Yeah.
But as far as like you're going back to your prayer walk, because honestly, I've been looking for something. I know I've read a lot of different things of people just waking up earlier and just having that type of peace of mind to get a lot more things done, because you're not, who the hell's going to be on Instagram at 4 a.m, right? So like, what is your, if you don't mind sharing, like what does a prayer walk look like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So for one, I walk my dog, right? So regardless, it's like I'm already going to walk my dog. But it's like, I don't really need to walk my dog like 8 a.m. anyway.
He's like,
I might as well
we just fall asleep.
Usually he's pretty tired. He doesn't really want to do it. But what does a prayer walk look like? So for one, walk with my dog about 4 a.m. The first part of it is just pure gratitude, right? Pure gratitude. Again, everything I can be thankful for, just for the fact that I'm awake, and trying to even regain my consciousness because it's so early, and trying to gain my focus. And then 2, I repent. I say sorry for the things that I know I need to say sorry for. And, no matter how great I'm doing, 9 or however high, I'm always falling short every single day. And, and I have that on my conscience, and I need to give it up. I need to, repent. And then from there, I pray for others. I pray for everybody that I think needs it. And there's people in my life that get consistent in daily prayer no matter what, because I know the struggles of what they go through. And then I pray for myself. I pray through the business. I pray through opportunities. I pray for my wife. I pray just really overall through. I'll literally be going through business plans with God, but like, all right, God, so, the deal, I'm wanting to ask for this amount of money. I know they're going to go here. What do you think? Please place it in my heart. What do you think? And I kid you not, like I'll literally leave these prayer walks with full business plans written, full decisions for what I need to do with my business. And so I pray on the business, I pray on the finances, I pray on the sales, I pray on my team, I pray on my leadership, I pray on everything. And as I'm doing it, there is just a learning that's happening, a being spoken to that's happening. And it's huge. Like, and that's not even the beginning, right? So the beginning of my morning is I get right to work, right? I believe you should have 3 habits every morning, right? To have a very successful routine, it's one that builds your spiritual practice, a second that builds your health, right? And then a third that builds your success, right? So I get right to work. I work in the business a whole lot every single day. So before I got to start giving my time to people, I need to work on the business. And I do a whole lot of working on the business in the morning, and that's my best, most productive time. And I use those 3 things, and then I go to the gym at 5 a.m. And that's kind of like that. Okay, cool. That's my segue. So it sounds crazy, but about 2 or 3 to 5, depending on what time I woke up.
Nice.
And that's 7 days a week?
Yeah.
So 4 a.m. no matter what, the night before was a birthday party, it doesn't matter. You're up at 4 the next day.
So
no, I'm curious because,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I want that type of discipline. Like, I'm very big on, like, waking up early and go to the gym, but, like, I've fallen off a couple of times.
Consistency.
Consistently. So, like, that's what I'm curious to know,
Yeah.
because I know a lot of people do have a mentality of a Monday through Friday and then just everything goes out the window Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's what I'm curious to know, if you're doing the prayer walks and this is just part
Yeah.
of your daily routine as Chris.
Saturday and Sundays I like to wake up earlier
Sheesh.
because I have less to do.
Yeah.
So it's even like, oh my, what can I get my hands on today?
Yeah.
But if I do have a late night, so I almost don't like to share these things sometimes. I feel like it makes me sound like I'm on like this unreachable level, right? But it's just years of doing this, right? I had a great mentor who got me to this place. I was not an early bird like this always. And I just had a mentor who showed me the path, and now I'm here. But to answer your question, for me, it sounds funny, but for me, sleeping in is about 4:30. So when I'm like resting and like, all right, cool, I hit the alarm a couple times, 4:30. But to me, my normal routine is 3.
Sheesh. No matter what time you wake up, I'll go to sleep.
No, I mean, I like to go to bed at 10.
Okay.
That's the usual time. But my life has changed, right? Because of the many responsibilities I have, my nightlife is not.
It's not there. Yeah, it's you're more focused on
Yeah.
what you're building.
Absolutely.
That makes
He's like,
that makes a
got
lot.
the heater in the playoffs. So
Yeah.
I might have to stay up late.
He's like, and by the way,
Yeah, with Jim VP going crazy, I will say the 11 o'clock.
He's like
is
10.
fine.
Yeah, he's like 10:30.
he's like, I'll make an exception.
Yeah.
Heat him for. You got anything on your
No,
end?
you're good.
All right, cool. No, that's beautiful, man. I love that because I'm trying to get back into that. You know, I was very big on waking up at 5 a.m.
We were
before.
going when I lived down south.
When you lived down south, we were going at 5 a.m. to the gym, and that got my day started because even after the gym, I was still getting home by 7.
Yeah.
I'd have to be at work at 9, so I'm like, okay, I need to be productive. I want to be productive. I
Right.
don't want to be in a rush.
Right.
So I'm very big on early bird. Always
Yep.
been. It's part of my anxiety.
Yep.
So, but I want it to be a purpose behind it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not just anxiety. Shit, let me wake up.
Yep.
Like, nah, I'm done with those days. You said you're good on your end?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So this is one question that we ask everybody at the end. Again, this is just to know you as a person, you know, nothing to do with your business or anything like that. Just you dig deep. You probably covered a couple things, but what's something that you don't mind sharing that you've experienced that you've experienced in your life that you wish someone had either talked to you or taught you before you went through it?
Yeah. So I have always had a big struggle with anxiety. And I realized in the last couple of years it was about this fear of disappointing others, right? This pressure I put on myself of this high, you know, I'm going to, like, especially being put on a stage and speaking so publicly to so many people, you feel this pressure of like all eyes and how you're going to disappoint. And there's this immense pressure to be perfect. And I think just this idea that, you know, only God is perfect. And when you can accept the fact that everything you do will never match up and never be perfect, I think it gives you a freedom to just say, well, why don't I just do my best? Why don't I just do the most with what I have right now and give it all to God and just say, all right, cool, that's what I could do right now. So what I would tell myself if I could learn it, you know, years ago, is just stop trying to be perfect. Stop expecting yourself to be perfect and stop expecting people to see you as perfect. And I think my anxiety would have been released a long time ago because I've struggled with anxiety my entire life, and it's been such a huge part of my life. And I would say now the freedom of that I found through God is unlike anything else.
I feel like a lot of that can also be because you were the backbone always.
Right.
So you always had to deliver at a certain level. So,
Right.
you know, you want to be perfect because you had so many people relying on you for emotional support and all this other stuff. So, you know, I feel like that could have been, you know, a reason why you felt that way. Because upbringing, when you're the man and everyone's looking to you, you have to be that person. So then later on, you're like, if I fuck up, you know.
So listen, man, we want to thank you for taking the time, you know, out of your busy day. Of course, we know it's a long drive, but thank you for taking the time to come out and speak to us and honestly share your journey. As I mentioned earlier in the show, this is what we're trying to do with this platform.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing with this platform. You know, we want to get people that are just like you and I to share their story, you know, and not only share their story, but also express, you know, share what they're doing to become better and to help other people. You are definitely the perfect example of what we stand for here, of being prolific, of doing things in abundance, right? And then just from our platform, we just want to thank you for, again, sharing your story, but also being vulnerable and allowing yourself to be vulnerable, because us as men, we don't have that. You know, we constantly growing up and holding things in, and that's how things escalate when they're adults. I think we need to make it a point to show the young men and the young generation that's coming up that it's okay to talk about your feelings. It's okay to talk about depression, mental health, stress. These are all things that we're going to go through as we get older. But if we're educated on how to cope with it, you know, what resources to use, you know, where to come to, you know, our platform, or as an example, you know, it'll just help them out in the best way they can when they're older. So again, from our platform, you know, everything that you're doing, we see the passion, you know, we can feel it. It's something that's very impactful. And honestly, we just want to congratulate you. We just want to applaud you for what you're doing. And anything that you're doing, you know, we just want to let you know from our platform to you that you have our 100%, you know, support. You know, anytime you're having another speakeasy. Are you still doing a speakeasy, by the way?
Not really. I do more public speaking now.
More public speaking.
Yeah, more motivational, more educational.
Okay. Well, anything that you're doing, just want to let you know from our platform to you that you have 100% of our support. You know, we want to bring this community of, you know, just men and women, but, you know, men and tie everybody together, because I feel like we're all stronger together. You know, it doesn't matter the race, ethnicity, whatever it is. So, again, we just want to applaud you. We want to thank you for taking the time out. And you have anything on your end? No.
What's next for Chris?
Watch Jimmy go win the Finals MVP
in about 17 minutes.
No,
he did four.
For me, working on my personal business, so I appreciate all the time I've got to spend with the Tony Robbins team and be with Tony, but I have a much larger vision. I have a coaching team that's formed underneath me now that I have just working alongside. We got a common vision of really helping succeeding professionals find success in their personal life. We find often that people get so focused on their professional life, their careers, their businesses, that their personal lives are falling apart. Their health is off. They're overweight. Their marriages are broken. You know, and when you have a life of abundance or a financial abundance, your personal life should look like that. So we have a mission that's really been found and sharpened. We see that the need is quite literally there in this country, and it keeps just being more of just an obvious type of problem that needs to be addressed, and we believe that we have an answer to it, and the team is forming. We're all here for it. So putting everything I've got towards that passion and towards that mission.
Respect.
That's beautiful, man. Respect. And honestly, if there's one place, it's going to be in the U.S. Because I'll be honest with you, I mean, we stress a lot of things here, you know, just trying to quote unquote make it. So I think that's a beautiful avenue that you're creating, because it's something that is obvious, like you said. It's obvious, but again, people don't talk about it.
Exactly.
So we're again, you have our 1,000% support. We're gonna make sure that anything that you're doing, I know you have like calls you can book and things like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, plug whatever, like if you have like a website or anything as far as just like, you know, your coaching and stuff like that. Yeah,
Mazzara.com. So this is our coaching website. This is the team, and you know, we offer one-on-one coaching, and this is your personal or professional coaching. And we seek one-on-one support. We offer guidance, support, accountability, and really these coaching psychology practices to help you either achieve the next level of your life or start to achieve some much more well-balanced success.
Respect.
That's beautiful. Respect. So we'll make sure we drop all the information down here below. That's it for our end. I mean, we want to again thank you again for taking the time. Last little cheers to wrap up the night. But this is episode number 38, ladies and gentlemen. We have Chris
Mazzara.
What
did you say? You said
I said Mazzara. I said Mazzara. Yeah. Sorry, I failed English a couple times.
It's all good.
Chris Mazzara, thank you for taking the time, man. Episode number 38, guys. Always checking in. Thank you for tuning in. And make sure you guys check out this episode when it drops. Chris, thank you again. And we'll see you on the next one, guys.
Appreciate y'all. Be safe.
Cause they thought I'd never make it. See me fall down and they celebrate it. Learn how to win with no demonstration. How about the cool guy?